We're all born, I believe, and definitely come to a place, if it's not born there, that we have an innate understanding that there is a God and that we need him. Even if we can't quite get there logically or form that thought, we have that God-shaped hole in our heart, and we're seeking for some connection that fills it. But at the same time, we also seem to have we tend to go one extreme or the other with this idea that either God is so demanding, so angry at the whole world that we're all doomed. We have an understanding that God is light and darkness can't exist in the same place as light. It's not possible. So we have this kind of feeling that, no matter what we try to tell ourselves or do, we have this understanding of our own darkness and the darkness of the world, and we can't see any way to stand in the light. And then the flip side of that is no. Look at the flowers, look at the rainbows, look at the beauty and wonder of creation. It's easy to see why some would worship the creation instead of the Creator, because the creation is glorious and we can see it, we can hear it. There's so many wonderful things. So we understand that God is loving and gracious. So we get this idea that nothing matters. We can do anything. We can say anything. We can just be who we are, exactly as we are, and everything's fine. And both of these extremes have enough truth in them to be dangerous and enough lies in them to kill us. I'm a proud grandfather. I like to pretend I'm not old enough, but yeah, as I approach 50, I get further and further away from that delusion. And my wife and I were able to see my grandson play soccer for the first time yesterday. It wasn't as easy as it could have been because Leah was very weak and very sick, and I thought I was going to have to carry her to the car after that little 45-minute game was over. But I think the only way I could have gotten her not to go to the game is if she had actually still been in the hospital, because she wanted to see him play. And I have to say, my grandson's pretty awesome. He comes by it naturally. His grandmother played soccer. His father played soccer and is very good. I think his mother played soccer too. He's 5 years old, almost 6, so he's playing in that little bitty league where you expect nothing but bumbling and everybody to reach out and grab it with their hands and everything. And if things continue the way they're going, he's going to be an amazing defensive player, which I know may be a disappointment to some people, but it impresses me. I haven't seen someone even close to his age have what seems to be an understanding of positioning. Instead of running for that ball, running to where that player's probably going to kick it. To see the defense like that, it was pretty impressive to me. He also has a tendency when he's doing offense to either just stand there and watch or as he's kicking the ball and doing some pretty good footwork, if he starts to get tired, just kick it. Just see where it goes, because I'm getting tired. And now this one, I was a little proud, but I'm not God. I'm not righteous like he is. I saw him do a very, very beautiful, smooth takedown of this kid that had the ball. There were some people nearby who were trying to make an argument that he didn't mean to do it. I know what I saw. I saw him go slide in there, maybe after the ball, but when he saw that one leg was on one side of the kid's leg and the other leg was on the other side, he put his legs together and rolled. Boom. Nice, smooth trip. But he also has a tendency to suck on his fingers. Evidently, this is a nervous habit that he does a lot, and his dad is trying to break him of it, and told him if he could go the whole game without sucking on his fingers, that he'd give him $1. He did not make it. I didn't do this in front of him, but I tried to make the argument that this is a sign of higher intelligence, because I did that when I was a kid. But they didn't really buy that too much. He had a lot of things that he didn't do right before, during, and after the game, and he did some things that were cute, and he did some things that were amazing. But he wasn't perfect. And I love him. I wasn't mad at him. I didn't want to, I'm never going to watch you play soccer again if you can't do it 100% perfect. And I'm a flawed human being who's only seen him, a handful of times because we live so far away. I love him. It is true that light and dark can't be in the same place. God can't accept our sin because there's no sin in him. And sin has to be dealt with. It's called justice, and a just God can't just let it go. It is true, but that doesn't mean he's out to get us. It doesn't mean he hates us. And he does love us. But that doesn't mean we get to do everything we want, however we want, and be anything we want, because inside we all know that that's not really love. Hey, Mom, I'm going to blindfold myself and run with scissors in the highway. Is that okay? Well, if that's what you want to do, I love you, so I'm going to let you do it. Anybody who saw a parent allow that would call CPS and say that parent doesn't love their children. That's not love. You don't get to do that. Because love understands that sometimes you have to deal with things. You have to take care of things so that there can be life, to protect from death. But the God who created the universe and put everything in orbit in such a way that it stays and it works. I mean, the minute calculations that have to take place for orbits to work the way they do so that the whole universe doesn't just fall apart. It's awesome. It's balanced. And he is a God that is balanced. So while sin must be dealt with and can't stand in his presence, love demands that something be done to make us where we're no longer darkness, so that we can come to Daddy and be in his presence and have relationship with him. So a God that is just and won't let anything that we've done that's harmed ourselves or others stand, and won't let anything that anyone's done to us stand. It's all going to be dealt with. Sent Jesus. Jesus came. The Spirit empowered him. He was wrapped in flesh to live the life we were always supposed to and never could, to do it completely perfectly, and then give himself for us. Martin Luther calls it the great exchange. We don't have to be afraid of a God who would die so that we could have a relationship with him. We can run to him. It doesn't matter how many times we've whiffed the ball. It doesn't matter how many people we've tripped up. It doesn't matter how many times we've forgotten and stuck our fingers in our mouth or whatever we have done that we know we weren't supposed to do. How many times we tried and failed. How many times we refused to try. How many times we sat down on the field and just said, I'm not playing anymore. He loves us. He loves us as we are, not as we should be. But he loves us enough not to leave us as we are. And he made a way. We don't have to be afraid of him. And we also don't have to stay dark, because the Spirit that enabled Jesus to do what he did now can live inside of us and transform us from the inside out because of the work that Jesus did on the cross. So today and in all the days to follow, we can remember that we can have the power to live it differently, to be better, to grow, to become the butterfly and stop being the caterpillar worm that we don't like to look in the mirror and see. And we don't have to be afraid to run to Daddy, because he loves us as we are, but not enough to leave us as we are, because his love for us is real love, and he wants us to have life and not death, so much so that he would die in our place. That's pretty awesome. That's the greatest balance in the world. The balance that would somehow say justice will be done, debts will be paid. But not by those who can't pay them. I'll meet the impossible standard because you can't. And then I'll change you so that you can. And that's pretty awesome.